Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm David, the Scottish man in a van, and if you're new here, I've been living in this van now for over 2.5 years, and right now I'm in Switzerland, and this series is all about you. I've been answering questions that my 500,000 followers have been sending me on social media every week while showcasing a beautiful place that I have been. And last week I featured the Arischluch Gorge in Switzerland, and if you want to see that episode, I'll put the link in the description, or you can click the link above. But this week I'm going to answer some questions here in my van, and the weather is actually turning here for a couple of days in Switzerland, so I've decided I'm going to drive to France into Chamonix. It's only around about 3 hours from where I am at the moment in Lauterbrunnen, and I'm going to take you up an incredible cable car ride to the famous Aiguille du Midi, where you see the second tallest mountain in Europe, Mont Blanc, and the surrounding area is just absolutely spectacular. It's certainly an experience not to be missed. One of the questions that I've had on the posts that I put up previously on social media was, what is the most difficult thing about van life? Now this is an interesting question because I thought initially it might be getting used to a small space, but I actually took to it quite well, to be honest. And I've downsized time and time again, at least half a dozen times now. And it really teaches you just how little you need to live a fulfilling life. I think the most difficult thing for me is when you get injured or when you're sick. That's when it's worst, especially if you're solo in your van. That can be an absolute nightmare. When I travelled around Ireland a couple of summers ago, that happened to me. I came in the van at a viewpoint and my back just went, and I lay out on the bed, and I had to stay at that viewpoint for 3 days. I couldn't move. It was absolutely awful. I lost 10 days of my trip there. I ended up booking in to see a physio, and it had only really just begun my journey, and it meant I couldn't hike, I couldn't do multiple things that I wanted to do from my time in Ireland. So I'll definitely be going back to do it again. But getting injured is a nightmare. It is an absolute nightmare. I've always got gel packs in my freezer, and they're the type that you can freeze obviously for injuries, but you can also heat them up with hot water if you need a little bit of heat as well. I've always got deep heat, painkillers, everything that I need, first aid kit inside the van in case anything like that does happen. But getting sick, when you're lying in your bed and you're not feeling well, the space does become a lot smaller. And I think that's the most difficult thing for me about van life in general, is when you're sick or when you're injured. Now, one of the most popular questions I've had since I put that post out is, where do you decide where to go? Well, this is a perfect example. I chase the weather generally, and in Scotland, you have to do that. If you expect the weather to find you in Scotland, you're sorely mistaken. You need to go and find the weather. So it could be raining and horrible on the east coast, but it could be lovely up in the northwest coast. So I'll head to the northwest, or I'll go hiking in Skye, or do whatever. I chase the weather, and I'm doing the same here. Even though I intended to be in Switzerland for 16, 17 days, the weather's turning for a couple of days. I've checked the weather nearby, 3 hours away in France, in Chamonix, and the weather's great. So I've thought, well, bugger it, I'm going to drive and go and chase the weather, go and do another amazing experience up Aiguille du Midi. It's a place that I saw last year, and honestly, I cannot wait to go back up. It is spectacular up there, and I can't wait to show you. Which leads me to another question that I've been asked: how long generally do you stay parked up? Well, it totally depends where you are, essentially. I mean, I've parked up in places, because my van's fully off-grid, I've parked up in places in Scotland for 4 or 5 days and not seen a single soul. But there are certain places where you need to be mindful of others, ultimately, especially in popular spots. So if I end up parking up when it's dark somewhere, but I know it's a popular spot that people go and visit on a regular basis and tourists go, I'll be up and away before anyone arrives. Essentially just get up nice and early, not disturbing anybody, and off I go again. So it really just depends on where it is you're parking and what you're going to be doing ultimately. But I try not to overstay my welcome, if that makes sense. And I think that's something that you do have to be cautious of when you're in a van. Another question I've been asked is, what's a van life hack that you couldn't live without? And for me, it is when I'm using my projector, especially in summer in Scotland where it can be light until 11, 12 o'clock at night. If I'm wanting to watch my projector, I need it to be dark. So what I do is put a towel over my extractor fan and tuck it in with a knife around the sides, and that makes it nice and dark where my projector screen goes. I couldn't live without that, definitely not. It's handy during the day as well if you're sick. for example, but it's brilliant in Scotland in summer because it takes ages to get dark. Total opposite in winter. It can start getting dark at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, it's dark. It's fine in winter, but in summer, yeah, I tend to use that little hack. That's definitely my favourite and one I couldn't live without. And the final question I've been asked, and I've been asked this regularly since moving into the van, don't you ever get lonely? And the majority of my adventures I do solo, but not all of them. But certainly for the first 2 years, everything I did was completely solo. So it is a common question. It's one that I was probably worried about before I moved into the van. I know for a fact that my family were a little bit worried about it as well, just from a mental health perspective. But for me, I've never once felt lonely in the van. And actually, it's been a brilliant lesson because I finally understood that there is a difference between being lonely and being alone. And I've got so comfortable now in my own space that I like to do things on my own as well. And I like having my own space, ultimately. And that's been a really valuable lesson. I'm extremely comfortable doing things on my own. So the short answer is no, never felt lonely in that kind of way. And I have met and made a lot of new friends since being in the van as well, whether it was through, hikers on Instagram or whatever it may be. I've met a lot of people as well along the way, which has been great. And I suppose there's a part of doing this as well, sharing it online, originally for my friends and family all over the world. And all of a sudden, lots of people started following along my journey as well, like yourself, watching, kind of living through my journey from a distance, if you like. And I think actually there's a part of that has also influenced that side of things, if that makes sense as well, because I am interacting with so many people every single day on my posts and comments and sort of community that I've built, and it's been a blessing, really. It has. But anyway, I'm going to drive to France and we're going to skip right forward to the cable car for Aiguille du Midi. Wait till you see these views. Let's go on a wee adventure. The views up here on the main terrace, right at the top, are just absolutely incredible. It's the second time I've been up here. I had to come back. It is an incredible experience, and if you're ever in Chamonix, you must do it. It is sensational. Next up, I'm going to step into the void. Let's go. Well, after an incredible experience, stopped back down at the first stop, Plan d'Aiguille, for a nice cold beer at the bar there, and some incredible views looking up to where we've just been. Outstanding. Slange. Now, before I leave you, there's also a very short hike, 5-10 minutes from Aiguille du Plan, and it's a hike to Lac Bleu, i.e. the Blue Lake, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Wait till you see it. Like and subscribe for more van life adventures.